Okay. All right. So first of all, I want to gather some of your feedback. What did you learn so far that you did not know before, or something you learned give you some fresh new ideas?
I think the big one that I learned was all of these different frameworks. It was very interesting to me to see that, I had come from the training where it's just there's one way of doing things, and seeing that
Mhm.
there's so many different options that are suited for different scenarios was really helpful.
I'm glad. Sarah or Keisha?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, that even though I've been teaching in higher education for 15 years or something, I had never heard of a lot of the instructional design names. Like, I knew they existed. We have an instructional design person on campus, but I did not know like the actual names of the design methods and, the ins and outs of them. So that was something new for me.
That's great.
Mine is very similar. I think one of the things that I found interesting is that I come from nursing, and we use what it's always been called ADPI, and it's very, very similar to the is it ADDIE? I don't know how to
Addie.
pronounce.
Yes,
Yes, it
Addie.
was almost like hand in hand with that. And so I was like, this would be really easy to implement, being that we've been doing the other one for so long. So I was like, that's really pretty interesting.
Great, great. I'm glad to hear that there's something new you learn and something you can bring back to your work and to your career. So the next two questions that go hand in hand. So at what moment in the class this past week or the past weeks, we're already week 5, the past 4 weeks, did you feel you are most engaged or you feel most distanced?
I always feel most engaged with the discussion questions, of course, how we can like have that interaction. I don't know if I felt most distanced. I mean, from a personal point of view, I'm not a huge fan of doing like the infographic type stuff. So like I didn't feel distance from the class. I just felt removed from the coursework itself because it's not something that I am passionate about, because I'm not good at it, nor have I ever been. But I did enjoy the engagement within the discussion of reading each other's and learning from each other's and providing feedback to each other.
I know infographic, like every term I teach this course, there are always a couple of students, I hate the infographic and it's so challenging. But guess what? You survived. And that's the purpose of higher ed. And you come here and that you get out of your comfort zone, you learn something new you never done before, and something like you may be challenging, but you put effort in it, you overcome it. You overcame it. Yeah, that's what education is for.
I will agree that the infographic was challenging for me. Not very artistic. I think the thing that made me feel the most engaged was the syllabus, because that was kind of putting all of these different things into a practical perspective, and that made me feel like everything was finally coming together.
Awesome.
I actually felt kind of opposite from these two. I'm really comfortable with Canva. I use it in our lectures a lot, and we actually use it for assignments. And so that, like, I was right in my comfort zone. Where on the flip side of that, like I like the engagement with the other students, but I always feel a little bit out of my element in the discussions, because I don't have that face to face that I'm used to.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad that you all turned on the camera and you're all like actively engaging, and that's what I'm looking for in an online class. It's not like it's not like I just want to spill what I need to talk about. It's an interaction that's more important. And that's the key thing for success in the online environment is the interaction, right? Like you interact in the discussion board, that's asynchronous way. And here we're seeing face to face and each other, and that's our synchronous way. That's like the classroom without a real classroom. And which is great. Like you don't have to drive to the campus, and like I used to drive to campus, and when I finish teaching, it's like 9:30, and I have to ask our security and to escort me to the parking lot because it's not safe in downtown Columbus. Oh, by the way, where are you all located?
I live in Canton, Ohio, which is a couple of around 120 miles away from Columbus.
Not very far, Canton.
Yeah.
I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina, so quite a bit away from campus.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm in the very southeast corner of New Mexico, so I'm about maybe 5 minutes from the Texas border. So I'm just
wow.
quite a ways away, about as far as Robert, just other direction.
Yes. Oh, see, that's the beauty of the online environment. You can be anywhere and we can all be together. So the next question is, what action would you like me to take for the rest of the class? Like any improvement you want me to, anything you wanted me to do to improve your learning experience?
I actually don't have any suggestions. I think you're really good with your turnaround time for grading, even though the things that you grade are like time consuming. Like you're really good. I think your turnaround time is really good. And your communication, like if we reach out to you, you communicate back quickly. Your feedback is, I think you have nice feedback, I guess. You let us know what we need to fix if we need to fix something. So I honestly don't have any suggestions, like personally.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will agree. It's just to sustain, is to keep giving kind of the detailed feedback as far as like if I'm getting marked down for something, like it's great to know, oh, this is what I did wrong. This is what I need to improve on for the next iteration of the assignment.
Right. Great.
I agree with everything they said.
You guys are so nice. I have a lot of meetings today, from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So I did not get a chance to finish the grading of your instruction design model paper. And actually this term, and I actually did your guys first, did the X2WW session first. So probably your grades will be posted tonight for the instruction design papers. But I think most of you guys did a wonderful job. Oh, Robert and Sarah, you guys in X1WW. Sorry, I have not worked on that part yet. So just give me a little bit of time. Okay, Gina, we were just discussing what actions you would like me to take to for the rest of the class to improve your learning experience.
Well, I do want to, first of all, for being late.
No worries.
I actually clicked on the other link, and there's a student in the other link, and we were sitting there since before 8 o'clock waiting for you.
Oh no, you
And
guys
so
did not use the right link.
Yeah, we didn't use the right link. So I told her I will come over here, see if you're here. And if you're here, then I'll try to go back over to the other link to let her know, oh, wait, class is over here.
Yeah, I clicked like 3 different links, so
Oh,
I don't
there
know.
you
And then
are.
this popped
Great.
up, so.
Yeah, you made it.
I'm glad you guys made it. Because
Yeah,
I
we were
want to give
sitting there, and I was like, do we not have class? Like, what's going on?
Like, well, I was here early.
Exactly.
Now you know.
Okay.
Okay.
So your question was?
What actions you would like me to take for the rest of the class to improve your learning experience? Anything I can do to help you learn better for the rest of the class?
I think just continue to give feedback, like on the work that I turn in, has been very helpful. I do you know, I thrive on feedback. It helps me to understand how I can fine tune the things that I'm doing. That's the only thing I could think of. Yeah. I don't know what everybody else said, but I mean, for me, that's what's helpful for me. It's just the feedback.
Thank you. See,
You're welcome.
you guys just look at one link. You didn't read the details. Oh, there's one 6 o'clock, there's one 8 o'clock. All right. Okay. Rihanna, you want to share something?
I was kind of excited this week to work on some things. I had to kind of pick which unit that I really wanted to kind of explore first. So I've been kind of busy over the last couple of days. I've been creating like extra huge.
Your blueprint? Ooh, look at that.
So, and then I just made a little quiz at the end of my quote hypothetical class for my class to take. So it's kind of exciting. I'm a substitute teacher and I've been a long-term sub a couple of different times. So doing this for like a community related course, it's kind of fun because that's what I like to do, but I kind of have the knowledge from teaching as well to kind of incorporate into it. So
Great. Okay. So this is what I showed you guys in week 1. Module 1 is about higher ed environment, and module 2 is actually a big chunk, covers from week 2 to week 7, where we talk about learning theories in the second week, instructional design models in week 3 and week 4. And this week, we're going to talk about learning technologies. And next week, we're going to talk about next week, the focus for next week is instructional strategies. And week 7 is assessment, how you assess your learner. So let me start with learning technologies. So first question. I also want to applaud everyone here. Turn on your camera and activating participation. This is exactly what I'm hoping for, and this is exactly how you will earn that points. There was someone who in the last class logged in, but did not turn on camera, did not have any participation. Even if I called the person's name, the person didn't respond. So a situation like that, there's no points to be awarded. So I just want you to know, because what you earn is the active participation points, not login points. Okay, so first question, what are learning technologies? Can you give me an example of a learning technology? What do you know about learning technology? Go ahead, Robert.
I'm thinking like computers, applications.
Computer applications. Yes.
So like Zoom could be a learning technology.
Yep, exactly.
I don't know if this counts, but I do math, and I actually have a calculator emulator on my desktop. So whenever I teach my classes and I share my screen, I'm able to share my calculator and show them step by step how to use the calculator. So that way they're learning that technology like as we go, rather than me just telling them. They're actually seeing me like push the buttons and work the technology.
Okay.
I love that.
So Sarah, did you use Zoom to show them?
Yep.
Okay, so in your case, the learning technology is the Zoom, not your calculator. You know why?
Okay. So what would the calculator be considered?
Calculator is a tool that you are teaching students. It's part of your course contents.
Gotcha.
Now in the district that I sub for, they have a big projector that you turn on, and it has a little camera, like a document camera. And then whatever you decide to stick up under the camera, it will magnify and illuminate on the whiteboard in front of the class. So I've subbed in classes where,
Cardboard.
you know, yeah, you're putting the calculator there to teach them the movements on the calculator, you know, or for younger grades, you know, kind of reading together, things like that.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely learning technology. And what I was going to say, it will come back to me.
I wanted to say, so I have a science background, unlike
Mhm.
Sarah, who has a math background.
Awesome.
But in science, we actually talk about how the advancement of pretty much anything that we in society can do that makes our job easier is actually considered technology. So for example, maybe back in the day, people used to use sticks to brush their teeth, but now we use toothbrushes. So toothbrushes can be considered technology. So I just wanted to make sure we are talking specifically about anything that is electronic.
We are
those the
talking
kind of
about
examples?
learning. We're talking about learning technologies.
But
No,
those technologies that you can learn from, but that are electronic, right?
definitely electronic, mostly electronic
Okay.
we're talking about. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't get my toothbrush would be learning technology.
Okay. What specific websites like Fiat, where students can do simulated lab experiments, be considered a learning technology?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That will be that'll be a great example of learning technology. So essentially, technology is the tool or digital tools that you will use to the tools that you will use to improve the learning. That's what the learning technology is. So why do we use learning technologies?
Because they now exist.
I think I already mentioned it earlier.
Because 20 years ago, this conversation would be completely different.
Mm-hmm. I know. Remember, I mean, some of you may be too young to remember. We had those projector with like film.
The clear.
Yeah, though I mean that is technology. That is learning technology. That projector. It's just as technology advanced, so the learning technology also advanced as well. So why do we use learning technologies? Back to the question.
I think maybe to make it easier to help our students understand things, like say it in a different way or give them a different way of looking and learning.
Yes, to make the teaching and learning more effective. That's the goal of using learning technology. How shall we use learning technology? What are some ways? What are some examples using learning technology? This question is very similar to the first question, actually.
Improve test scores. Improves test scores. Students can utilize applications geared towards math or English to help improve their overall testing.
Yep. Anything else?
I think Gina's example of being able to use the technology like for simulation purposes, I think that's a good example. Like I said earlier, I have nursing background. So in nursing education, like during COVID, for example, we couldn't have hands-on with patients. So we did a lot of simulation. So they were able to get that experience.
Right. So we use learning technology to mimic the live environment. So Martina, you're here. You have anything to add? No, we cannot hear you. You can exit this room, and you can join the room. You can join room later. Like, okay, you can come back to the room, but before you come back to the room, you can test your audio first before you join. Okay, now, next question. Shall we design an instruction around learning technologies, or we use technologies to design our instruction?
I would say a combination of the two.
Please elaborate.
I mean, it really kind of depends on who and what, even the specific organization that you might be dealing with. Their policy might be, they have new technology and now they're designing their instruction around it and you have to follow that. Or, if you have the option of using your own methods to teach, you can use technology that you find to help enhance or, make your lesson plans come alive.
Mm-hmm. Any other?
Also, I wanted to build off of that and say that, for example, when a person joins a new company and they have to learn all the ins and outs of that particular job, oftentimes there isn't someone who can be physically with the new hire to teach them everything, give them tours or whatever, but they can sit down and maybe watch an interactive film where they have to maybe answer questions while they're watching that film. Because nowadays, some organizations are using AI to help with that. So I think we can design the instruction into some type of programming. But then also when someone isn't physically able to be there all the time, it can be used to kind of like just be automated. You just use your phone to scan a QR code and then it brings you to the links and websites or whatever that you need to do in order to get through a training. I mean, my lab does it, for our onboarding. You go through this training and you have to answer questions, but you're not interacting with a person, you're interacting with, the technology thing that they're giving us.
Yeah, but the instructions were already created. You just scan the QR code to get access. Okay, Martina. Do you have something to say? Okay, any other thoughts? Which one goes first? Instruction goes first, or technology goes first?
I personally think instruction, I think you have to have kind of a game plan and then plug it into whatever type of technology that you're wanting to use.
Robert, you unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and it's hard because, like, in an ideal world, I would like to have a plan of what I want to teach and find the most effective medium for that, right? But at the same time, if I'm teaching for a company and this is our approved training platform, I have to operate in those dictates. So I think it's going to be constrained a little bit by what environment you're in.
And I was going to say, sorry, Dr.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I think it depends on the program too. Like our visual media program, they might use the technology to design their instruction because that is their entire program is the visual media. And it's like Robert said, whatever they have available to them based on cost or whatever licensing that they might have, they might then need to design the instruction around that. So I don't know that there is one right answer to that question. I do think it depends on
This
the
is not,
program.
this is not a chicken or egg question. There's only one answer to that question,
Interesting.
which I'm going to review that with you all. You always have instruction first. You like Robert and Keisha. Oh, Keisha, right? Yeah, like Robert.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
Yeah, like Robert and Keisha mentioned, you always have instructional goal first. Under the goal, then you choose what technology that best fit or best fit or best support that goal to provide your instruction, to design your instruction. So it's not the other way around. It's not I have this technology and then I figured out how to use the technology. So when this, both Sarah and Robert, you also mentioned, what if it is a technology that I want to teach, and your learning goal is to teach that technology. Let's say, I want to teach it articulate. This is a tool, right? Learning technology. But your goal is to make sure students learn how to use the articulate. That's your goal. So with that goal, and you're teaching your learners how to use the articulate 360 with different instruction, different steps, and different videos or hands-on practice. Always have your instructional goal first. Discussion. Okay, next question. What trends do you see in learning technology field? What are some hot trends like people all talking about in terms of learning technology? I know you all have that in your mind already. You just didn't come.
I'm sorry. Does Quizlet and stuff like that fall into that?
The trends, you can look at the trends, like what's going to happen in the next year.
I think it's just going to keep going.
Yes.
It's going to just keep increasing.
Yeah. The Quizlet is already there. Something like new, and it definitely will be used.
I don't know if this falls under the category because clearly the terminology I am not good with. But obviously to me, the trend that's like going around right now in terms of higher education is AI and what we're going to do with AI and how that will be incorporated. I don't know if that counts as a learning technology, but that's definitely something.
That's a perfect example. Exactly. That's a perfect example. AI is a perfect example of learning technology. It is. Think about any digital tool that can be used to support teaching and learning. It's called learning technology. Like YouTube video is a learning technology.
The district that I substitute teach for, all of their students are issued Chromebooks from kindergarten through high school. So a lot of paper assignments and tests, things of that nature, no longer exist. Teachers only print those things for the subs because we don't always have access to get into those accounts to pull up lesson plans. But yeah, they don't, very rarely you'll find paper copies of assignments or handouts or tests, quizzes, anything.
Exactly, because because the development of learning technology is so advanced. Like my daughter, she's 8-year-old. And she will come home. She will, where's your homework? My homework is in Prodigy. That's a game.
Yeah.
Like she's playing all kinds of games, but those are learning games.
Yes.
We also call it edutainment.
I love that word.
Another word, edutainment. Okay. Right. So what are some best practices for digital environment? Meaning maybe online environment, what e-learning, what mobile learning. What are some of the best practices you can think of? And Martina, if you can't speak and if you have a problem with the mic, you feel free to type it in the chat.
One of the hardest things for me is just making sure everyone has the same baseline technology, because I do a lot of teaching with like video editing and programming, and people are using different operating systems and stuff. So it's hard just getting on the baseline so that we can start from there.
We also talk about digital divide. That's just example of a digital divide, because some area have access to more advanced technology and some area don't.
I would also say your audience and your content would determine, your best practice for that environment.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Their audience?
Like who your audience is, your best practices for doctoral level college students would be completely different from teaching a 7th grade course.
Okay, that's a very good point. So give me some example for what practice for digital environment for K-12 kids.
So what may be appropriate for an adult may not also be appropriate for a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
The sites that you use,
yes,
or the contents of the search.
Yes, that's a very good point, and that's a very valid point, because it's also about learning styles are different. Martina put in, make sure the vision is clear. That's good. That's a good one. Anything else?
I know for me personally, like one of the practices that I do for a digital environment is I do not assume that people have a certain like knowledge level, I guess. I assume that we are all like at ground level, and I go from there. So I just teach it kind of from the bottom, and that way, I don't know. So that's a practice that I do. I don't make assumptions on their previous knowledge.
That's very good. That's a very good practice. Very good practice. Okay, let's see. Go ahead.
I was going to piggyback off of Sarah. Also, I think that not only starting from the bottom and like scaffolding it, but also considering that there may be some differentiation that may need to take place. I've had students who may be nonverbal, so I may have to come from a different angle with that student. I may have a student who may need someone to type for them. So, there has to be differentiated options for the different types of learners who are in the room as well.
Yep. Scaffold learning. Scaffold learning. That's very important. Let's see what I have here. Develop a learning community. Set up a clear instructional goals and outcomes. Scaffold learning. Engage your learners and incorporate real-world applications. And be creative utilizing technologies. Of course, those are not a comprehensive list of our best practices, but those are some like common ones we can all take away. Okay, so the next topic I want to talk about is instructional strategies. So let me ask you guys first, what is instructional strategy? I think
Is that like, sorry,
I believe every one of here, you all have used instructional strategies at a certain point. So why I'm asking this, I want you to go back to think about what are the methods you used that considered instructional strategy. Okay, Jenna.
that could be anything from lecturing or lecture style teaching. That could be a demonstration.
How you demonstrate.
Again, science background. So there may be a particular chemical reaction that we're going to be talking about today. Okay, we're going to talk about double replacement reactions today. So we're going to actually do a double replacement. I'm going to do a double replacement demonstration, and then I'll have my kids do it. So a demonstration is a type of instructional strategy.
Yep, back to the question. What is instructional strategy? Let's define instructional strategy.
Is it like a way that your content is being shared with your audience? Is it like, yeah, I don't know. Anybody can help.
Like, for example, how are you going to share that content? For example, flip classroom. That's
what I was going to say.
I was going to use that too. Actually, I was going to ask if that was considered
yes
a strategy.
Right. So Martina did put it in the chat box, which makes sense. It's a technique that helps students learn and understand the lesson material. So the instructional strategies are the methods you use to improve the effectiveness of teaching and learning. So think about learning technologies are tools. Instructional strategies are the methods you can use. Okay, any other examples of instructional strategy?
Like we do like the think, pair, share, things
Think,
like
pair,
that.
share. Think, pair, share. Yeah, think about anything you have used in your instruction. You think, oh, you can ask, you can just bring it up, say, hey, if that's instructional strategy.
I don't do this often, but sometimes I have, like when I actually have a face-to-face class, I'll have students sometimes come up, like, 4 or 5 students, and they'll work out a problem and then kind of like them be the ones to explain it a little bit. So that way.
Is that like teamwork? Like
yeah, exactly. Right.
teamwork?
And then so like they work on it and then go up to the board and kind of work through it, and then that way the classmates can see what their process was, and what steps they took, because in math a lot of times there's more than one way to solve it. The final answer is going to be the same, but how you get there might be different, right. And that way they can kind of see.
Yeah. So let me give you that term for that. It's called teach back. See, when you use those terms or jargons, you sound like an expert. So yeah, so what the one you used is called teach back. So teach back can be used as an individual or can be used as a team, as a group. So go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just going to ask, is it Socratic questioning? Is that what it's called? Is that a method?
Say it again.
Like the Socratic method, like where you ask a question and then you just kind of let them fill in the blanks rather than you teaching it?
Yes, that's a great instruction strategy. Yeah,
Socratic seminar?
You can call that too. Socratic.
It's something like that. I can't remember the term right off the top of my head.
Right. So we also call it 5 whys. So there's another way to use that Socratic, I may not pronounce it correctly, but you know what I mean, method. So you keep asking learners why, asking them 5 times, why, and they will figure it out themselves. So it's called 5 why. 5 whys, that's plural form. What are
So
the
sometimes,
go ahead.
oops, so sometimes I've kind of played dumb in class with some of the students. They'll ask a question and I'll play that I'm not really sure role, and then we'll kind of look it up together and I'll make them kind of do more of the work, and then they finally, oh well, it's da 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 da. See, you found it. And then I might elaborate a little bit more once the student found the information of the,
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely instructional strategy. So that's similar to teach back, but not quite. So we also call it exploratory thinking. So you guys are all using constructivism approach. So the next question, what are the roles of instructional strategies in teaching and learning? What's its roles? Or what's its purpose? Or why you use instructional strategy?
I think it's so there's a coherent plan to what we're doing. It's not just haphazardly thrown all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Coherence. And this also, so when I ask what the roles and why, that's also related to the definition we just put together.
It also, depending on the strategy, like used to promote engagement. So students are engaged in the class, whether it's online or face-to-face or whatever the case might be.
Yes. Yep. To improve the engagement, and the ultimate goal is to improve the effectiveness of your teaching and learning. That's what instructional strategy is for. So in the weekly prep, there are some I listed some links for you to read about instructional strategies, and then there's some over 100 instructional strategies. So definitely I highly you want to read those learning resources and read those links and get more familiar with instructional strategies, and you'll find, oh, you will feel like opening a new door for you to so many new ideas. Like for example, icebreaker, that's also instructional strategies, because you're using icebreaker to engage your learners and reduce the anxiety, and building the icebreaker to the contents, and that's the natural transition to move to keep the learner's attention. Okay. Okay, let me go back. The one more point I want to make. So if let's say, what is the content of your instruction, of what you're going to teach, right? So learning goal is the end goal of what your learners need to accomplish. And the learning technologies are the tools to accomplish that goal. And instructional strategies are how your learners can learn or can accomplish the learning goals. Does it make sense? So it's all, remember, it's all connected. It's all aligned. Okay, now we're talking about assessment. So assessment answers the question how your learners learned, or how well your learners learned. So therefore, there are two types of assessment, formative assessment and summative assessment. So from time frame wise, formative assessment is ongoing. It's an ongoing assessment throughout instructions. And summative assessment, summative assessment is at the end of the course or academic year. And the purpose for formative assessment is to provide opportunities for student improvement in real life. For example, when I ask you a question, technology goes first or instructions goes first, right? So I'll give you a real-time feedback that technology goes first. Instruction goes first. And the same as the feedback you like me to provide, and that's the real-time feedback that I'm giving to you guys, so that you know where the areas you can improve, and you know the areas that you're really good at. Now, summative assessment is used to evaluate learning outcomes after classes have concluded. The intention for formative assessment is to understanding the learner's progress, as well as pinpointing areas for improvement. And the summative assessment, the intention is to gauge overall comprehension and label achievements. So through the summative assessment, you can say whether your learners have accomplished their course goals, the course level learning goals. Frequency, how frequently should formative assessment being used? Definitely irregular and frequent. Summative assessment would be used at the end. So you will be considered occasional for the frequency. And the formative assessment, some of the examples of formative assessment are like exit tickets, think, pair, share. And Keisha talk about think, pair, share. That's a perfect example of formative assessment because you'll get the feedback right away. And 1 minute paper. Remember, those three are not only formative assessment, they're also instructional strategies. So they don't always like exclusive. And examples for summative assessment are final exams, standardized tests, or end of unit projects. So this unit would be considered as like the whole unit of instruction, like the whole course, the entire unit.
And then you could also make it comprehensive or non-comprehensive as well. For
the summative assessment.
Yeah.
Summative assessment normally more comprehensive.
Okay.
Any questions about formative assessment, formative and summative assessment? Okay, so those are the differences between formative and summative assessments. Now my question is, what are the similarities?
I have a real quick question. Like a unit exam, would that be an example of a formative assessment?
Okay, so
like if you had several units.
Right. So if you have several units, one unit exam would be considered a formative assessment because it is ongoing throughout your instruction. Now, if you like at the end like one big exam, that is a summative assessment. Good question. What are the similarities between formative and summative assessment?
I mean, they look so different to me. The only thing that I can really see is that they're both evaluating in some manner.
Yes. Bingo, you got it. Anything else?
I was just to piggyback off what Robert said, I was going to say they both would need to meet some certain goal or outcome or objective of the course. So it's, are they meeting this specific outcome, whatever that outcome might be, but they're both needing to meet an outcome.
Yep, they're measuring outcomes. They're measuring outcomes. Okay, so the similarities are both assess learning. Both are used for feedback. And both are used for future planning. For example, for the formative assessments, right? So now you know those are areas for improvement. You can do better in the future. Now for the summative assessment, I will gather, yes, how do my students do in this course? Now gather those feedback, I can revise the areas that my learners are confused about, are unclear about, right? So this for future planning. So additional examples for summative assessment include the state assessments, district benchmarks, end of a unit or term assessments. So remember, this end of a unit will refer to the entire unit, not individual unit within the course. And standardized based assessments. Those are summative assessments. And formative assessments, including quizzes, observations, homework, classwork, and charts and Venn diagram and so forth. Can you give me any additional example for formative assessments first?
Could be a lab experiment.
Very good. Yes, from a chemistry teacher. Definitely.
I was going to say from the nursing instructor perspective, we do what we call skills checkoffs. So they have to demonstrate that they essentially have mastered a particular part of a skill before we move on to the whole thing.
Yep, excellent. That's exactly one type of formative assessment. What about summative assessments? Any other examples?
Could a lab practical be a summative assessment?
What is lab
So
practical?
say like,
Hmm.
so let's say, we've learned about all these different lab equipment. We know we've learned what they're used for, how to use them. So at the end, now we're going to, the entire room is set up with lab equipment, and each student has to go to each equipment, and they have to answer whatever that question is at that particular, station. And then they move from one piece of equipment to the next. And at the end, I will be able to know if they understood really how to use the equipment, even though we've been having all these lab experiments on this stuff. But can you really and truly identify what the equipment is and how to use it?
Now the question I need to ask you is, when will this happen? If this happen in the middle of your instruction or at the end?
This is at the end. Practicals are like a final exam, but it's for lab equipment.
Yep.
You know, how to use them.
Yep, if it's the end to test your learners, like the test if they're able to use those lab equipment, yes, it is summative assessment.
Would licensing exams fall under that, or am I thinking too far in the future?
Licensing exam is summative assessment. That's a great example of summative assessment, because they have to get because the licensing exam is like the standardized based assessments to measure if those nurses have those knowledge and skills to be certified as just nurse or something. Like the comprehensive exam you guys gonna take. That's a summative assessment. So in this course, what are the formative assessments? What are the summative assessments in this course in EDUC802?
Formative would be our discussions that we have throughout.
Mm-hmm. What about projects? The projects in each different parts of the project in each week, are the formative or summative assessments?
Well, the final project or paper would be our summative assessment that we're kind of building upon I believe each week that we're in class.
Mm-hmm.
So each week it would be a formative assessment, but at the end it would be everything that we've worked towards and gathered to accumulate into one finding, which would be our summative assessment.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Perfect. All right. Now the questions. Looks like you guys got it pretty well. Good. Because I mean, a lot of students are very confused about formative and summative assessments. So that's why I want to emphasize and the assessment in this class. Okay. So you guys all got the very high level of the knowledge points for each week. Now let's look at your project. So instructional media, that's the assignment, that's a project going to be due this week. So instructional media is using learning technology to create a media digital piece. And the goal of instructional media is to educate or explain a topic that may be difficult to understand for your learners. For example, in week 2, I posted a video where I explained, demystify the learning goals and learning objectives. That is instructional media piece. Because I was using Zoom to record my PowerPoint slide. In that instance, PowerPoint is also learning technology. I use a PowerPoint and I use the Zoom to record my PowerPoint and save it as a video and share that video with you guys. So the video itself is instructional media. And in the media, I explain the topic of learning goals and learning outcomes. So for your assignment for this week for the instructional media, I highly recommend you guys to think ahead of assignment that you're going to develop next week. Think about what topics for that particular assignment that you're going to do next week may be difficult for your learners to understand. then you will create an instructional media for your assignment. We talk about backwards design, right? So you want to look ahead. You want to think ahead, because the instructional media will be an important piece for your assignment. And that's how you use learning technologies to improve your teaching. So choose one or two key knowledge points and develop them as an instructional media. And you also need to explain the rationales and why you use this particular instructional media. For example, you can create a game. You can create a game or quiz. You can use a Quizlet or Kahoot to create a quiz. So in the quiz, that you will keep having your learners to draw and practice the knowledge, so that until they get it, until they understand the knowledge points. So you definitely can use that. So now you're in the last part of the template that you're going to use for the instructional media, you will need to add why and what theory that you consider or guided this design of using the media. And there's example in the template. For example, I choose a video, why I choose video, or why I choose when you design a video, make sure it's less than 5 minutes. And the reason, the rationale for have a 5-minute or less video is because of the cognitive load theory. So in the cognitive load theory, it states that human learning has capacity. So human learning, in 1 second, the brain can only process 7 bits minus or plus 2 information. So that's why, first of all, you want to chunk. If you have a big topic, you want to chunk the information. And so when you chunk the information, if you're going to use a video, you have to make it less than 5 minutes.
So when we're doing this, like if our class was designed to be 2 hours, do we create like a hypothetical 2-hour outline for our class and present that in 5 minutes?
I'm not quite following you.
So
Yeah.
my class is 2 hours a week, 4 weeks, but 2 hours once a week. So I'm
Okay.
preparing things to cover with students, hypothetically speaking, for a 2-hour time frame.
Right. Okay.
So I'm like, I want to include hypothetically, you know, if I say, okay, we're going to learn how to use Google, then I want to also include, you know, a pause or a break for students to hop on or try to get on there or enter in themselves on their computers.
Think about this way, Rihanna. So let's say you're going to be 2 hour, the class going to be 2 hour, right? But you only choose 1 or 2 knowledge points to focus on.
Okay.
And so that way your media will only be 5 minutes or less.
Okay.
You're not creating 2-hour media.
Okay.
And this might be a silly question, but
No,
while we're
it's okay.
creating this, we're like allowed to assume that they have like, because like what I'm gonna create, it's like kind of building on a previous topic that they would have learned. Like, am I able to say, like, based on last week's lesson, we learned this, now we're gonna build on that? You know, can I like do that? Because if it was an actual classroom, that would be the case. You know, I would have created a separate video showing the previous stuff. Obviously, I can't do that here, but I just want to make sure.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, of course, because like I said, so for this course, it's only 8 weeks long. So I only ask you to create a piece or parts of an entire course. And wherever your this instructional media stands, it's up to you. Any other questions? You can use any tool. I know I list some tools in the assignment, but you feel to use any tool that you're familiar with or you're comfortable with, and be creative. Be creative. Okay. Okay. Now let's do this. Let's do this exercise. I am going to, let's see how many people we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna put. I'm gonna split this class in 2 breakout rooms. So three person will be in 1 room. So I want you to watch those videos, which I will put in the announcement for the breakout rooms. So here's what you want to read right now. So let's see, hypothetically, there is a course about heart attacks. There are 3 modules for the heart attack course. First one, causes of heart attacks. Second one, symptoms and risks of heart attacks. You may want to write it down. Number 3, recovery and prevention of heart attacks. So those are 3 modules. Now, so there's 3 videos I would like you to watch, and each group, you watch those 3 videos and you talk about it, and you come back and tell me which video is most suitable for module 1, causes of heart attack. Are we good? Any questions? So you're gonna watch those 3 videos that I will share with all of you, and you come back. I'll give you 5, maybe 7 minutes. Give you 7 minutes to watch all 3 videos, and you come back and tell me which one is best suited for module 1, the causes of heart attack. So I'm gonna create breakout rooms right now. Martina, you have 2. You have 2 accounts. Let me move you both. Alrighty. Okay. Join your breakout room. Or if you received the announcement I posted.
It popped at the top, but then it went away.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me, okay, here.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Okay, I'm gonna go to another room and post that for another room.
We're not able to locate the links.
They just popped in. I think we're good now.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay, you guys are pretty fast. Good. Looks like the other group, they're still in there. Okay, good. Okay, everyone is back. Perfect. What do you think? Which video would best suited for module 1, causes of heart attack, and why heart attacks?
Martina says, make sure the objectives and vision is clear. The technique that helps the students learn and understand the lesson and material. I personally thought video 1 was long, lengthy, and not to the point. Robert felt the video 2 seems even worse, more like a science explanation. I'm thinking like he likes the cartoon best because it seems to be the one that focuses most on the cause. Me personally, I'd choose video 3. It's kind of short, simple, to the point, explanatory, and that's all I have.
So that's your group's answer, the third video. Okay, what about the other group?
I think we decided to go with video 1.
Okay, why?
I think the last one was more talking about like the symptoms of rather than the causes. And so that first one, it equated it to like scraping of a knee over and over again, and it made it easy to understand rather than just a bunch of medical jargon.
So your team go with your team's selection is the first one.
I believe so. We had some confusion with some links. It was confusing, but I think we said 1.
Yeah.
Whichever one that had doc tablet, that was the one.
The first one, right, Jenna?
Yeah.
Okay, good. My personal choice would be the first one as well, because it's easy to understand. And the second one is very jargon. It's more like scientific. Again, you also had a great point that who are the audience for those modules? Right. So it depends on the audience. If it's for kids, you may choose the first one. If it's for like professionals, you may choose the second or third one. So yeah.
So for the first video, the causes of heart attacks, it kind of lost me when it was talking about scabs and this and that. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Can we get to the point we're supposed to be learning about the causes of heart attacks, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, speed it up.
See, that's why you want to limit the video to less than 5 minutes because people's attention is short.
Yes. To the point. Let's go.
Yeah, great. So again, this is actually does not have like a one way answer. It depends on who your audience is, and you guys already figured that out. You already touched that point. Okay. So for week 6, like I said, you're gonna develop assignment. So in this assignment, you need to include what's the title of your assignment, the outcomes, and what's the overview, what this assignment's about, any additional resources. And you may also want to indicate that this assignment is for which module of the course you planned. I know some of you have 3 modules, some of them have 4 modules, some of them have 6 modules. So you need to indicate this assignment is for which module. Okay. And you will need to add the instructional media piece for this assignment. And then you will need to have action items and submission instructions. So just look at any assignment in this course in EDUC802 as example. So follow your assignment in this course as example to develop your own assignment. Okay. Now, one key thing that I want to point out, I want to emphasize it here, is assignment needs to be written from your learner's perspective, not from you as a designer or teacher's perspective. So basically, you were telling them you need to do this. So this is the first step you need to do. Second step you need to do, and the third step you need to do. Giving out, provide step-by-step instructions, and put yourself into the shoes when you finish this assignment development. If you were a learner, will you understand each step?
So
Okay.
are we able to use like language? So I'm
If
teaching like,
yes,
go ahead.
yes, if it's for K-12 kids, yes, you need to use a language that they can understand.
So I was going to do a unit on employment / some folks reference it to getting the bag. So I was going to put it, you know, kind of label it as that as my unit title.
Sure. Is that, but your assignment title may be same or may be different than your unit title. Okay. So this for your project part 5, you have 2 parts. The first part is that we will develop the assignment that from their perspective, like you teach you definitely want to use you as a subject.
Okay.
And the other part, the second part for this assignment is you need to write something for me and showing me how what instructional strategy did you use? How does you choose an instructional strategy to support your design? And what are your rationales? So you need to, this is a separate part that you write for me. So in your design of your assignment, specifically in your action items, that's how instructional strategies will be demonstrated. So pay special attention when you write the action items. And I will look how you wrote the action items so that I can see what instructional strategies you actually used. Okay. Questions?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. All right. As you work on it, they may have more questions. But if you do, feel free to email me, okay, or give me a call. And so choose those instructional strategies. Refer back to the links that I provided in the week 6 reading and prep. Just choose some of the instructional strategies that best align with the outcome you're going to design. There are over 100 instructional strategies you can choose from. For project part 6 is assessing your learners. So for this part, like I said, in the part 5, you develop instructional media. I'm sorry, in part 4, you develop instructional media, which is this week. And in part 5, you will develop assignment. And part 6 is you're gonna design a rubric. Gonna design a rubric to measure that assignment. And I also included a plenty grading rubrics and the examples in the reading and the prep. So make sure you read those, and you can choose any kind of grading rubric to work on. Again, this part to be written from a learner's perspective, well, because you are telling your learners how they will be evaluated. Now, another piece is your end of course survey. There are also examples or how to create a survey in the reading prep as well. And another example is by week 7, all Franklin University courses, we have like a course survey for you to fill out as well. So you can use that as an example. But our survey is pretty lengthy, so you don't need to create such a lengthy survey. The last part, your part 7, is a presentation where you put everything together in a slide presentation and record your presentation and post your recording to the discussion board. And in this presentation, for the areas, especially the learning outcomes, if you did not use the right outcomes, or if you have used the fuzzy verbs like learn, know, appreciate, or understand, I give you feedback that you need to change those to proper Bloom taxonomy verb. So you will need to correct or revise those in your final presentation.
I have a quick question regarding that presentation, if I may interrupt. Is it a good place to ask?
Sure. Yeah.
This part where it says to demonstrate the instructional multimedia piece that we created, that we're creating this week. How do you want us to demonstrate that in the slide presentation? Like, are we redoing it? Like,
so think about the slide presentation is a voice over PowerPoint. So when you do PowerPoint, it's not, I'm not asking to post your slides. It is a presentation. So you will need to create a PowerPoint first, and you're going to use a studio or Zoom to record your presentation. And so
I meant specifically bullet point 4, where it says that during that presentation, we demonstrate the multimedia piece that we created.
Yes,
so
I'm not there yet. So when you talk about your instructional media piece in your recorded presentation, you can show us the instructional media piece you created. Okay, so for example, like in the class tonight, if I click the video link, I show the video. That's how you're going to show your instructional media piece. Did I answer your question, Sarah?
Yeah, sorry that I interrupted you. I appreciate the
I just
answer.
have
I need patience.
Maybe I need to speed up, huh? Any other questions? Okay, so one last question. I know I did. Do you guys want me to offer another online office hour in probably week 7? Yes or no?
Optional.
Oh, definitely optional. Yes. Those were not kind of points. Like the last office hour I hosted, only 2 show up for both classes. So
I've got boys in sports that tend to tell me at the last minute, oh, I've got practice, I've got this, I've got that. We need to be here across town
it's
at the
okay.
last minute. So
It's all right.
unfortunately,
Yeah. No worries, Anna. I mean, I completely understand. I mean, that's why I told you at the beginning of the class, this is the second secondary mandatory meeting that we're gonna have so that you can plan around your schedule.
Right.
Yeah, I will see. I might still offer online class meeting. So just if you have questions, you can hop on. If you don't, then you don't have to come, okay? Like just another way for me to support you guys learning. Okay, in addition to the projects, there are a couple of discussions you're gonna work on throughout the rest of the classes. So this week, you were gonna find a recent article in Chronicle Higher Ed. So this, you will need to create an account in the Chronicle of Higher Education to review the article. I mean, if Franklin University Library, check Franklin Library, have a subscription. I believe we do. So you have to log into your account first, log into your Franklin students account to use our library. Then you can search for Chronicle of Higher Education. Now there's another way. Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Well, you go ahead with that other way, because there's a semi issue with the first way that you said. So I want to
Okay.
hear what the other.
Okay, so the other way is you can just go to Chronicle of Higher Education to look at the articles. Some of the articles are free. Some articles you have to create an account to access it. But creating an account is free.
The issue that I ran into, I didn't have an issue creating the account or reading the article. The problem is you only get 2 free articles. So I used one on my own, but we're supposed to reply to 2 classmates, which means we'd have to reply to 2 other articles, but we would only have 1 free article remaining. You know what I mean? So we don't have 3 free articles. We only have 2. From what I could tell, because when I clicked on my first one, it said 1 free article remaining. I was like, well, crap, how am I going to reply to my classmates then? So I don't know if there's a workaround for that.
Oh gosh, they keep changing this. They keep changing. Oh gosh. Okay. All right. So if that's the case, you can review your classmates' post without reading the article itself. Okay.
Basically, take what you have and make it work.
But yes.
It let you read like the first like 2 paragraphs, and then it said like, I don't know, it just wouldn't let you open the whole thing without paying for, but it lets you read 2 of them for free. And then after that, you can only get like the first little blurb of it, and then that's it.
I know that those money hungry. Yeah, they used to be all free. Now it's like keep changing. Now you only have 2 free articles. Maybe I'll think about other ways. So for the week 7, you have discussion about formative and summative assessment. So there are 4 scenarios listed, provided for you. So choose one scenario and analyze the case and provide your suggestions. And then when you do responding post for in week 7, you have to choose your classmates who have a different scenario than yours. Okay. The last doctoral dialogue assignment is the philosophy of teaching and learning. So you need to have your philosophy statement first. What's your philosophy statement of teaching and learning? After you wrote that, and you want to review what you originally had from week 1. So, and you tell me, have your teaching philosophy has changed in the last 8 weeks? And then you would just share any theories or practitioners that you learned from this course, or you know that influenced or impacted your theory. And lastly, how would you apply your philosophy of teaching and learning in your career, in your teaching, or in your training? And I think, and that's everything I have for tonight. So any last minute question?
My last question is, Will this be made available to us?
You
This,
mean the
tonight's class?
PowerPoint?
Yes,
The PowerPoint?
yes.
Yeah, I can make it available to you guys. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And recording is definitely available to you guys. I will post the recording. Wait, okay, yeah, I will post the recordings because this time I was not using the Zoom within the course, so they may not have a recording over there. Okay, yeah, I will share the recordings for sure. Okay.
So is it kind of weird to, I think it's kind of backwards for me. I have a way in which I want to teach the course. And in my head, I kind of have the way I want to set it up and present the information and then collect feedback about the course. So then I would have to find a theory kind of based on the way in which I plan on teaching or presenting my information. Is that kind of
I
true?
think you already learned it in the second, in the third or fourth week. That's a
Okay.
backward design.
Okay. All righty.
Okay. Any other questions? I know we are, oh gosh, sorry, we're 12 minutes past 9:30. Thank you so much for your patience with me. And thank you for being here tonight. If you don't have
Have a
any
good night,
questions,
guys.
good night, everyone.
Thanks. Good night.
All right, thank you.